You're listening to the Lanterns Radio Network. We are the network dedicated to empowering the individual, illuminating the truth, defending American exceptionalism, and inspiring future generations. Stay connected and get involved at lanterns.buzz for great radio. Get commentary and news of the day. Lanterns.buzz.
Incoming transmission.
Listening to the HoloNet podcast on the Lanterns Media Network. The new conservative resistance begins right here, right now.
Allied reinforcements have arrived from the west.
You're listening to the HoloNet on Lanterns Media Network. The millennial conservative resistance begins here.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the new millennial conservative resistance does indeed begin right here, right now, with you. You are listening to the HoloNet podcast on the Lanterns Media Network. And today is Super Bowl Sunday. Sorry, can't say that. The Big Game Sunday. Really doubt they're going to come after me, though. And what we are talking about today is the Death of Nuance. That's right, it is the year 2019, and we are witnessing it in real time, the death of all nuance.
How do I live the death of nuance? Oh, letting the water fall, the death of a bad nuance. Seems so fitting for happily ever after. How could I ask for more? Lifetime of laughter at the expense of the death of a all nuance. I'm off. Feels like my heart is going to burst.
And now that I'm demonetized, yes, I know how horrible that was. I have no singing voice to speak of whatsoever, but yes, we are witnessing in real time the death of all nuance. And we're going to run down a couple of different examples today, but none shines so glaringly as the New York State abortion law, which now allows abortion up to 40 weeks of pregnancy. That's right. Full dilation doesn't matter. Baby could be born in 5 minutes. It is completely legal to abort a baby, to murder a baby in the state of New York today. New York has gone over the cliff. Virginia narrowly averted, following shortly thereafter. 7 laws right now, I believe, up for debate in Rhode Island, the East Coast, the Northeast in particular, my home, my original home. It's all coming down. It's going insane. Margaret Sanger's dream is being made manifest today in 2019, and you know who should be the most pissed about this? You know who should be absolutely livid about all of this? All of your moderate pro-choicers. I know, that sounds like a contradiction, doesn't it? Moderate pro-choicers. When I talk about moderate pro-choicers, I'm talking about people who may not believe in the use of abortion as a measure of birth control. They may not believe in third trimester abortion. They may not believe in second trimester abortion. They may not believe in first trimester abortion. They may be fans of the morning after pill. Or maybe they believe in abortion prior to a heartbeat, which is usually under 2 weeks. Or they believe in abortion prior to viability, because I think that's at about 22 weeks right now is the running standard, if I'm not mistaken, for viability. Roughly, I know I was a preemie. I was a full trimester preemie. So I'm an anomaly, 6'2", over 200-pound anomaly. I'm not going to tell you the exact number because it's a little bit embarrassing now. My sons, my twins, they were born a month early as well. They were preemies, are preemies. So there, at one time, was a lot of nuance to be had with this argument. And one piece of the nuance, one piece that I always looked at, and my wife and I were discussing very recently, was why is there such an issue right now with voluntary sterilization? Why isn't this a bigger conversation? Rather than concentrating on, well, we want to be able to terminate a pregnancy, murder a baby, we want to be able to abort a fetus, murder a friggin' baby, up to 40 weeks. How about you just allow an 18-year-old, a 19-year-old, a 20-year-old to sterilize themselves? If they are 100% dead nuts on certain that they never, ever in their lives want to have a baby, let them do it. Let them do it. And then let them live with that choice for the rest of their lives. Because then they have to face the consequences of their drastic actions, not another life. Not another life. I had always believed in my heart that science would solve for this, because as viability gets pushed out further and further and further, all the way back to conception almost, because we're getting to the point where you can successfully grow a human child almost completely in vitro. We're getting there where a child, a successfully conceived child, is viable outside of the mother's womb earlier and earlier and earlier. And science is eventually going to get to the point where every conception is 100% viable. It's going to get there. It's going to render the abortion talking points completely moot. Okay? But then comes the question of, what if there are people out there who do not want children under any circumstances? They want to have sexual freedom. They want to have the ability to be sexually active without using cumbersome prophylactics. I get it. Sterilization. You don't want to have a baby? Cool. Shut down the baby factory. All right? Tubal ligation should be available for women regardless of age. All the way back to age 18. You need to be an adult. This is an important lifetime decision. You've decided you're not having kids. The reason I bring this up, number one, it was brought to my attention. My wife and I discussed it also, because she got a tubal ligation after our fourth kid. Because we were like, 4, we're done. we're done with it. And it was also a cesarean delivery. So it's kind of a while you're in there deal. I was completely prepared to get a vasectomy if that was the way we wanted to go. But the decision we came to together was, since they were opening her up anyway to go in for the cesarean, that it made perfect sense for them to perform a tubal while they were at it. Now, go to a story from HuffPo. Ugh. I know, I get hives when I talk about HuffPo, when I pull a story from HuffPo. Link will be in the description. This is a story from 2014 by Catherine Pearson. Meet the 20-somethings who want to be sterilized. First time Bri Seeley told the doctor she wanted to be sterilized, she was 24 years old. In some ways, she had always known she did not want to have children, but the idea really started to take root in high school. By the end of college, it had blossomed. While friends and boyfriends debated baby names and imagined their futures as parents, she dreamed of her own future as an entrepreneur. A writer, fashion designer, and aspiring women's empowerment activist. Motherhood, she knew deep in her bones, was not for her. The naturopath who Seeley went to see for her annual exam told her that because of her age, she was not a good candidate for permanent sterilization. Following year, Seeley asked again and was rebuffed again. Next year, same thing. Quote, every single year she would say to me, "You will never find a doctor who will do that for you," said Seeley, who is now 31, lives in Los Angeles, and who has blogged for Huffington Post about her experience. Though her desire for the procedure only grew, she said, the anger she felt after the initial rejection gradually gave way to a kind of numbed resignation. The naturopath would say, "You can go get a consultation, but you're going to pay for this consultation, and they're going to tell you no, you're too young." I mean, that's interesting. A woman who adamantly doesn't want to have children. The doctors won't do it. They're bound not to do it. Why? If we have so many women out there who don't want to have babies, that we're aborting millions of babies a year, that's not a misprint, millions of babies around the world, why isn't sterilization more accessible for women who do not want to be mothers? You know, you go through the articles, and there's a couple here, and again, I'll provide you the links. The biggest common denominator there is that they feel regret later on in life that they can't have a baby. And they wish they could have reversed the decision. So, wouldn't that push science to a reversible method? Like the intrauterine device, the IUD. Wouldn't that push toward semi-permanent or long-term sterilization methodologies to broaden that science? No, we're just going to kill babies. We're just going to kill a shitload of babies. Oh, I'm going to have to edit that out. It defies explanation. It defies reason. And it comes down to having to make the decision between what is right and what is easy. I'm going to pull the full Dumbledore on you there. It is making the decision between what is right and what is easy. And it is easier to kill a baby sight unseen, apparently, because they don't want to look at an ultrasound. Can't do that. Can't make mother do that. It's easier to do that than it is to have a woman permanently sterilize herself and live with the consequences. They don't talk about living with the guilt and regret that you snuffed out an innocent life. You don't talk about that. And I know, I'm going to get thrown under the bus. You're a man, you don't get to talk about this. You're a white man, you definitely don't get to talk about this. You're a white Christian man, you definitely don't get to talk about this. But you know what? Damn it, I'm talking about it. Why? Because I was born premature. I got that one. So this kind of hits me where I live. And this hit me where I lived when they were talking about it for like the 27, 28 week, the second term abortions. Now it's up to 40 weeks. So this hits everybody where they live. Everybody alive today was abortable under New York law. Let that sink in. Everybody that is alive today was abortable under New York's current law. You, me, everybody. And like I said, if I were a pro-choice activist, if I were a moderate pro-choicer, I would be absolutely livid about this. I'm pro-life. I try not to foist that on others. I really don't touch the abortion topic much on this show, as a rule. Because I believe in small government. I don't believe in a government that gets to legislate morality, especially at the federal level. I do believe this is something that needs to happen at the state level, but I'm starting to change my tune when New York has authorized abject murder. And Virginia and Rhode Island apparently want to follow suit. This has sucked all of the air out of this argument and has eliminated any possible nuance. We're no longer talking about cases of incest, cases of imminent death for the mother. Now we're talking about mental illness. And mental illness in such a broad spectrum where antepartum depression could be used as a justification for an abortion. Think about it. Anxiety about your future after the baby is born can be used to justify an abortion under the law that Virginia was recommending. We'll go to that audio from their state representative and also from the now heavily embattled Governor Northam. I believe that information came from For Every Mom, Representative Kathy Tran, talking about their third-term abortions. It's insane that there has been no middle ground left to go to in this argument. The air has been completely sucked out of it, and it's not the only place. And now today, on Super Bowl Sunday, Governor Northam is heavily embattled. He's in deep trouble right now, but not over what you would think. Not over the damning audio that he gave in support of Kathy Tran and the Virginia legislature's abortion bill, no, he's in deep trouble right now because either he dressed up in a KKK hood or blackface and had the nickname of man as his listed nickname in his yearbook, 2 different yearbooks, mind you. One was for his medical school, the other one was for the Virginia Military Academy, which I think somebody should go knocking on the VMA's door and see why that flew. But he's being put under fire for extremely racist crap that got pulled up out of his background. It's amazing that stayed buried during the last gubernatorial election. Where's the Oppo research there, kids? But now has come out, and now he is being excoriated, raked across the coals, even by his own party, and even called on by people like Joe Biden, and every presidential candidate potential for 2020 is jumping in line to scream that this guy should resign, virtue signaling to the whole world. Not over the fact that he was defending third trimester abortion, no. Over the fact that he apparently was a real big racist like 20 years ago, 30 years ago. So we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to roll that audio from Governor Northam and also from Representative Kathy Tran of Virginia regarding this law, and it is staggering the mental gymnastics and the lengths that they are going to make this this argument that is completely devoid of all nuance. And that's what we're doing here going into 2019. We're celebrating the death of nuance. You're listening to the HoloNet podcast here on the Lanterns Media Network. Take a quick break. Stick around.
Reinforcements have arrived from the west.
You're listening to the HoloNet on Lanterns Media Network. The millennial conservative resistance begins here.
Oh, yes, indeed. The new millennial conservative resistance does indeed begin right here, right now, with you. You are listening to and hopefully watching the HoloNet podcast on the Lanterns Media Network. We are on Facebook.com/HoloNet. We are also on the holonet.lanterns.buzz. YouTube, you can search the HoloNet, also on BitChute, iTunes, iHeart, Spreaker, SoundCloud, Spotify, anywhere else that great podcasts are found. All right, we're going to go real quick to this audio. This is, again, foreverymom.com. This is Kathy Tran's speech before the Virginia legislature regarding third trimester abortion, and it is, it's about 2 minutes long, I think, but it's just staggering. So we'll give that a quick listen here.
This bill would remove the following statutes: trap or targeted regulations of abortion providers, removing language classifying facilities that perform 5 or more first trimester abortions per month as hospitals. It would repeal Virginia's informed consent mandatory ultrasound and 24-hour delay. It would repeal the requirement that second trimester abortions be performed in a hospital licensed by the State Department of Health. It would repeal the requirement for 2 additional physicians in cases of third trimester abortions.
Delegate Tran.
Yes, sir.
How late in a pregnancy would your bill apply if a physician was simply willing to certify that the continuation of the pregnancy would impair the mental health of the woman? How late are we talking about?
Well, so the way the suggestion that we've made in the bill is to say it's in the third trimester and at the, with the certification of the physician. So
how late in the third trimester would you be able to do that?
It's very unfortunate that our physicians, witnesses, were not able to attend today to speak specifically.
No, I'm talking about your bill. How late in the third trimester could a physician perform an abortion if he indicated it would impair the mental health of the woman?
Or physical health.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm talking about the mental health.
So, through the third trimester. The third trimester goes all the way up to 40 weeks.
Okay. But to the end of the third trimester.
Yep, I don't think we have a limit in the bill.
So, where it's obvious that a woman is about to give birth, she has physical signs of that she is about to give a birth, would that still be a point at which she could request an abortion if she was so certified? She's dilating.
Mr. Chairman, that would be a decision that the doctor, the physician, and the woman would
I understand
make at
that. I'm
that
asking
point.
if your bill allows that.
My bill would allow that, yes.
I certainly could have said a week from her due date, and that would have been the same answer, correct?
That it's allowed in the bill, yes.
Yes. And in addition to what you just represented, you do acknowledge that you substantially changed the standard by removing a couple of words here, correct?
From 2 to
Substantially
1.
and irremediably.
Just like-
I'm sorry, line 80.
80.
Line 80.
Stunning audio. By the way, I do need to go back to first segment. I think I used the word fourth trimester. There is a fourth trimester. There's the end of the third trimester, and that I get quite energized by this. I get quite upset about it because it's very, very close to my heart. And yeah, so I'm going to go back and I'm going to try to fix that. But to listen to Representative Tran attempt to defend this bill, and if you watch the video and if you listen to the hesitation in the audio, I think she knows this is wrong. I believe in my heart that Kathy Tran knows how horrifying what her bill calls for is completely aware of it, and can't bring herself to say it. She can't bring herself to answer the chair. Where's the confidence? Yes. All the way up to the end. Yes. But there's hesitance there. There's hesitation there. She doesn't want to say it because she knows as soon as she says it, the veil is gone. The nuance is gone. And her bill and these efforts on the East Coast are laid bare for what they are, the authorized legal murder of babies. This is all happening at the state level. So from a states' rights perspective, this is where this debate needs to happen, is at the state level. What I'm horrified at, absolutely horrified by, is that it actually passed in New York like that. And it came within an inch of passing in Virginia. Now we're going to go to the appalling audio from Governor Northam as he tries to defend this.
You know, I wasn't there, Julie, and I certainly can't speak for Delegate Tran, but I would tell you, first thing I would say is this is why decisions such as this should be made by providers, physicians, and the mothers and fathers that are involved. There are, when we talk about third trimester abortions, these are done with the consent of obviously the mother, with the consent of the physicians, more than one physician, by the way. And it's done in cases where there may be severe deformities, there may be a fetus that's non-viable. So in this particular example, if a mother is in labor, I can tell you exactly what would happen. The infant would be delivered. The infant would be kept comfortable. The infant would be resuscitated if that's what the mother and the family desired. And then a discussion would ensue between the physicians and the mother. So I think this was really blown out of proportion. But again, we want the government not to be involved in these types of decisions. We want the decision to be made by the mothers and their providers. And this is why Julie, that legislators, most of whom are men, by the way, shouldn't be telling a woman what she should and shouldn't be doing with her body.
And do you think multiple physicians should have to weigh in, as is currently required? She's trying to lift that requirement.
Well, I think it's always good to get a second opinion, and for at least two providers to be involved in that decision, because these decisions shouldn't be taken lightly. And so, I would certainly support more than one provider.
So, for the purpose of clarification, okay, just to make sure we're all on the same page, the baby, or the fetus, is delivered, taken into another room, made comfortable, resuscitated if need be, and then sits there in the little bassinet. If you've ever had a baby or been a father in that situation, they let you go see, is sitting in a little bassinet under a warming light just to make sure the baby's comfortable, wrapped up, swaddled, nice. And you go into the other room to decide if you want to let the baby die. That's what Governor Northam just described. Now, what Governor Northam just described here is he gave a nuanced answer to a non-nuanced bill. What he described is a heartbreaking situation that has occurred to many families. Thank God in heaven did not occur with mine, but occurs to many families where a baby is born with a deformity or is malformed or is in such a state as the baby will not likely survive out of utero for very long. That's what he's describing. One of these things is not like the other. He is not describing the bill that Kathy Tran just did. So it's a nuanced answer, but it's not applicable because it's not a nuanced bill. And this is more of the death of all nuance. He's trying to apply a nuanced answer where it's inapplicable. And this is why all of the air is being removed from this argument, from this debate. And there is no longer a gray area to be found. The left says, if you're for abortion, you must be for abortion all the way up to 40 weeks. You see, that's why I was calling it the fourth trimester, because 40 weeks. All the way up to 40 weeks, all the way up to the end of the third trimester, or you're not good enough. You're not really pro-choice. Your pro-choice bona fides mean you are fully in favor of murdering a baby 30 seconds before it pops out and crowns. Okay? That is their definition now of being pro-life enough for the Democratic Party of the United States, is you are okay with murdering babies. That's it. If you have any nuance, they're going to virtue signal you out. They're going to pull you out of the group, stand you up for a public flogging and shellacking, and then leave you to burn. I'm wondering here, with that nuanced response, who was it that did that Oppo research that turned Governor Northam into a national shame over the course of the last week? Was it a conservative? I doubt it. Was it somebody on his own side who didn't want him to back away from that 40-week standard, from the defiant, arrogant standard that a baby can be killed right before its birth? Is it somebody who heard that and said, oh no, wow, he's too nuanced. Quick, pull out the Klansman photo. Yeah, the one with blackface. We're going to light this guy up good. No proof? I'm wondering, though, where it came from. Anybody knows? Hit me in the comments. Let's find out. But we're going to take one more quick break, and when we come back, we're going to go into a couple of other things that occurred this week that seem to have, again, removed all trace of nuance from the world. We're going to talk about Arizona's own Grand Canyon University. GCU, the largest private Christian school in the state of Arizona, at least. It may be the largest in the country. I'm not sure. I'll have to check. But they have declined to have Ben Shapiro speak. One of the most prominent Christian schools in the country says, no, Ben Shapiro, he's too divisive. Yeah, he's not inclusive. Here on the HoloNet Podcast on the Lanterns Media Network. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Lanterns Radio Network. We are the network dedicated to empowering the individual, illuminating the truth, defending American exceptionalism, and inspiring future generations. Stay connected and get involved at lanterns.buzz for great radio. Get commentary and news of the day. Lanterns.buzz.
Incoming transmission.
Allied reinforcements have arrived from the west.
Highly caffeinated, typically vindicated, often imitated, and never duplicated. This is the HoloNet Podcast on the Lanterns Media Network. I'm your host, Matt Holloway, and the new conservative resistance begins right here, right now, with you.
Allied reinforcements have arrived from the west.
Oh, yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, we are back here on the HoloNet Podcast on the Lanterns Media Network. Yes, indeedy. Like taking that nice long break every now and again, just because that gives me an opportunity to really set up that second half of the show. Really get it looking good. Put some shine on it, a little bit of polish. Just get it, shine it up real nice. That shows you that I watched WWF when I was a kid. WWF back then, now WWE. And, apparently they're doing a lot of stuff in Phoenix. I might take my kid, I might take, my oldest, he's about 5 years old, and, I think he's starting to get into that age where, the boy must become a man, and who better to teach him than Stone Cold Steve Austin in the Cage of Death? Yeah, well, Stone Cold don't really wrestle that much no more, but, hey, it was good for me when I was a kid. I know it's fake. I knew it was fake then. It was still good TV. So, we go to the news now, and there's two things I want to talk about here. First, Ben Shapiro, where if you don't like the Leftist Tears mug, we are going to be making the HoloNet coffee mug available for purchase online. You can check that out. It's really nice. HoloNet. It's not as cool as Mug Club. I do have my Louder with Crowder Mug Club mug that finally came. I'm going to show it off on air one day, but I usually like pulling out my own merch. And also the HoloNet polos. Wrong side. HoloNet polos. I'm going to make these readily available too. And I'm also going to work on a couple of t-shirts, working on a partnership with a press company to do that. And I wish my nose would stop itching. So, I said I was going to go to it. Here we go. Ben Shapiro. Now, I pulled this up to give us both sides of the argument. You got the Phoenix New Times, which, of the newspapers in Phoenix, you got the Arizona Republic, which is the Gannett rag here in the Valley, is leftist as leftist comes. And then, wait a second, the Phoenix New Times, when, being to the left of the left isn't left enough. You get the Phoenix New Times. Phoenix New Times reports out, Ben Shapiro blocked from speaking at Grand Canyon University. Grand Canyon University, a Christian college, declined to provide a venue for speech by right-wing commentator Ben Shapiro. Conservative youth organization Young Americans Foundation reported on Friday. By the way, open invitation for the YAF. I'm going to try to reach out to them. I'd love to have them here on the HoloNet podcast, talk to them a little bit, and try to get some information on this. I'll see if I can do that as a side-along interview, maybe post that later in the midweek. So, Shapiro tweeted a link to the YAF announcement of the news and said, another day, another university ban. You know who Ben Shapiro is if you're listening to this show, I'm sure. But the quote comes from GCU. Quote, we believe in many of the things that Ben Shapiro speaks about and stands for, including his support for the ideals that grow out of traditional Judeo-Christian values and his belief in the free market economy, GCU said later in its statement. Our decision to cancel Shapiro's speaking engagement is not a reflection of his ideologies or the values he represents, but rather a desire to focus on opportunities that bring people together. After citing its history and values, the school continued that its decision had upset some people in the GCU community, but would upset people either way. So my question, if this would upset people either way, why don't you err on the side that upholds your values? It was not our intent to disappoint or offend anyone. It was rather to use our position as a Christian university to bring unity to a community that sits amidst a country that is extremely divided and can't seem to find a path forward toward unity. Now, covered by The Blaze as well, largest U.S. Christian university blocks Ben Shapiro from speaking on campus, and the officials release a statement. Spencer Brown, YAF spokesman, I'm going to try to get a hold of him, in a scathing statement on Friday, said the university would not provide a venue for the upcoming speech. In the meeting, the officials gave three reasons. Number one, allowing Shapiro on GCU's campus would not be good for the school long term. 2, Shapiro's approach instigates a divisive atmosphere. And 3, GCU wants to maintain a culture of unity, love, and respect, and having all student voices heard. School administrators reportedly also said that Shapiro's speech style is divisive and, quote, cutthroat. Additionally, YAF reported GCU President Brian Mueller personally approved denying Shapiro a venue, believing the university would dodge negative media attention. The question is, do you want to dodge negative mainstream media attention or negative conservative media attention? Because who do you think is your larger base, GCU? Seriously. Brown said in a statement, and Brown, perfect. This is just the right amount of salt is sprinkled in there. It's nice. Check this out. By caving to an unseen mob and ignoring the popularity of Shapiro amongst its student body, Grand Canyon University just played itself and deserves whatever negative response this brings. GCU has abandoned the sentiment of its own proclaimed values, deluded itself into acting like the liberal campuses it claims to differ from, and blindly accepted the left's ludicrous argument that Shapiro's presence somehow damages students, campuses, or debate. So you know what? Here's what I'm calling for. Here's what I would like to see. I want to see Steven Crowder and Quarterblack Jared and the whole team roll on GCU and see if they deny you a venue. I want to see the next Change My Mind, and I'm going to tweet this out, and I hope he answers it. I want to see the next Louder with Crowder Change My Mind on Indian School Road right in front of GCU. I want to see it happen. And I want to see if GCU lets him come in and speak. Because if they do, this argument's dead, and they were clearly out to single out Shapiro. If they don't, then the writing is on the wall that any true conservative discourse, any true interrogative attempt to dissect and deconstruct the talking points of leftist academia has no place at GCU. GCU has fallen. Boom. There's the challenge. Quote me on it. The challenge is out there. I want Louder with Crowder to approach GCU, and I dare GCU to render a decision. Because then we will see. Then we will see. As the story generated momentum and backlash online, GCU officials released a public statement explaining why. The statement explains, if you ask students what the key differentiators are that made them choose GCU, their responses will center around our Christian mission and the strength of our campus culture. It has fostered a community in which students from all sectors of society feel welcomed in an environment where they can find purpose while attending GCU. Inclusivity. Excuse me. In short, it has created a unique and united community where no matter their political differences, people come together as one to make a difference in the world around them. Jesus Christ taught us that, as Christians, we should live as the salt and light of the world by loving our neighbors as ourselves. And that is happening here in real and tangible ways. So, as salt and light, are you loving Ben Shapiro? Are you loving him in spite of the things that he says that you may disagree with? Or are you shunning him, GCU? Because before you beat me with the Bible, you better reread the page and make sure you got it right. Quote, if you look at America's history, the church has been at its best when it worked to achieve the kind of peace that Jesus commanded. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the sons of God. Matthew 5:9 ESV. Making peace in a way that honors Christ is something we will continue to try to do, the statement concluded. I respectfully disagree. I feel the church was at its best when it was leading the American Revolution from the pulpit. In Arizona, we're seeing conservative values get betrayed a lot lately. A lot. And you know, I pull it up on Facebook, and we have a really great American who is part of the HoloNet Facebook group. If you want to join the group on Facebook, you can like and subscribe on Facebook.com/HoloNet. We also have a special little group there. It's the HoloNet group. And Dr. Robert Branch, a former candidate for Superintendent of Public Instruction here in the state of Arizona, and former chairman of Legislative District 13, good man, guy I've worked with on a number of occasions. He brought up a very good post, and I'm going to read it verbatim here. Just taking me a second to get to it. Here we go. AZ conservatives are betrayed once and twice again. He goes on to state, Representative Noel Campbell, Republican of Legislative District 1, the person who brought us the $32 tax on our license plate annual renewal, has now introduced a bill that would increase Arizona gasoline tax by over 155% per gallon. Campbell wants you to pay 46 cents per gallon instead of the current 18 cents per gallon in Arizona taxes, plus Governor Ducey vetoed a Republican-backed bill that would hold state taxes even. He has vetoed SB 1143. SB 1143 was a law that was brought about in the state of Arizona here. It actually had... Here we go. This is from the U.S. 2020 archive. Zachary Henry. This is from the Republican Party, state of Arizona. Following a successful vote by the Arizona Republican lawmakers on a bill that would ensure Arizona taxpayers do not get hit with tax increases this year, Republican Party of Arizona Chairman Kelly Ward issued the following statement. Republicans in the House and Senate voted this week to deliver on the promise they made to the people of Arizona to do everything within their power to lower taxes. It's unfortunate this common sense bill was not signed into law. Nevertheless, we're proud of Republican legislators for refusing to cave under pressure and for boldly rising to defend Arizona from a tax increase. The vast majority of Arizonans strongly support lower taxes and laws that enable them to keep more of their hard-earned money. I am hopeful we can work together and get this done before the current session expires. Where this comes from is that Arizona's lawmakers put up a law, which is SB 1143, which would basically render the tax change flat for Arizona residents, because there is a state procedure called conformity to the federal taxes. So what they did is the state legislature tried to make it easy to prepare state tax returns once they filled out the federal forms, in the way that any deductions allowed by the IRS are permitted by the state. Okay? That proved unacceptable to members of the Republican Party because this year the amount of deductions were reduced. So, on the federal side, President Trump informed us that they would be reducing the number of deductions possible, but they would double the amount of the standard deduction up to $24,000 in the case of a single of joint filing together. So it would come out in the wash, and you would actually wind up getting more back in your taxes. For many people, that was the case. Unfortunately, in states that conform to the federal deductions, like Arizona, that would actually result in state income taxes being higher for your average taxpayer because there are now less deductions, but the other side of the standard deduction being higher doesn't affect the state. So, what the legislator attempted to do was to cut tax across the board by 0.11%. So, example, if the top tax rate of 4.54% on income tax over $150,000 and $300,000 for couples would drop to 4.43%, with similar decreases for lower tax brackets to make it revenue neutral to the taxpayer. So you wouldn't get hit with that. All right? This is not a tax cut because it is not an effective tax reduction to the taxpayer. Governor Ducey vetoed this because, number one, he's term limited, so he doesn't have to worry about re-election now. I posted earlier in the week, forgetting that he was term limited, that this is how incumbents get primaried. He doesn't have to worry anymore. But he fought it as if it were a tax decrease. Because from the revenue side of things, it would reduce the amount of revenue that the state is bringing in, but the state is operating in a surplus right now. But Governor Ducey feels that it is better for the state of Arizona to tuck more away in the rainy day fund because, again, the actual reduction in state taxes would not hurt the state. It would not hurt the state of Arizona. It would force the state of Arizona to focus a little more on budgeting instead of just having the rainy day fund get bigger and bigger. But it would keep more money in the taxpayers' pockets. So Governor Ducey, under the guise of fiscal conservatism, vetoed this bill. So it seems that, number one, Nuance is dead. And number two, conservatives are getting hit, especially in my home state, again and again and again, by institutions and by individuals who we have upheld to be conservative stalwarts. GCU, a Christian university, long held to be one of the most conservative schools in the country, right next to Liberty University, right next to Brigham Young, right next to Hillsdale. Notice that Brigham Young and Hillsdale are both in Utah. Just saying. And now the Republican governor of Arizona, of all places. I mean, the Democratic Party cheered when he vetoed this. They congratulated him by Twitter. All this leading up to the 2020 elections. All the air has been sucked out of the abortion debate to leave either people that are pro-life or pro-choice. Having a nuanced opinion on either side is now no longer acceptable. And people like me, who are small government and don't like federal government legislating morality, now I'm telling you, having a right to life bill or a personhood bill sounds pretty damn good right now, where the federal government defines when you become a person. I think that's a debate we need to have now, because now we have states that are taking the states' rights model and performing just perverse things with it. So I don't think the solution is a federal ban on abortion. I think the solution is a federal affirmation of personhood, because then the law takes care of itself. Once you declare that a person is a person when the heart starts beating, or that a person is a person at the point of scientific viability out of the womb, this is a debate we can have. I'm not gonna make an opinion or plant my flag anywhere in there right now, because personally, I'm pro-life to the point of conception. That's me. That's my personal view as a Christian, as a man. Okay? But this discussion needs to be had now. And states like New York, like Virginia, like Rhode Island, and the far leftist push has completely removed any possibility of a nuanced conversation about abortion. And we're seeing every day how nuance is being removed from every other line, every jot and tittle of political conversation. This is 2019. Anno Domini, in the year of our Lord. And nuance is dead. God help us. On that happy note, this has been the HoloNet Podcast on the Lanterns Media Network. Thank you for listening. If you want to find us online again, www.theholonet.com, holonet.lanterns.buzz, facebook.com/holonet. Find us on iTunes, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, SoundCloud, Spotify, every great place that podcasts are found, YouTube, and BitChute. And if you want to support us, we are on Subscribestar. You can find the link on the homepage. You'll also find the link below here in the description. $5 a month right now. You can subscribe to the HoloNet via Subscribestar, and that's going to help us out a lot. We're making a big push to work to get onto terrestrial radio this year, and would love for you to be a part of that. From Phoenix, I'm Matt Holloway. Good night. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.